impressive victory of socialist Zohran Mamdani in the New York City Democratic mayoral primary has prompted attacks from some on the right.
For instance, Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk wrote on X, 24 years ago, a group of Muslims killed 2,753 people on 9/11. Now, a Muslim socialist is on pace to run New York City. And Speaker Mike Johnson wrote, the victory of radical self-avowed socialist Zohran Mamdani proves again this is what the Democrats stand for today. This is complete and total insanity.
Even some Democrats, however, aren't too fond of Mamdani. Congressman Tom Soave wrote Wednesday on X, I had serious concerns about Assemblyman Mamdani before yesterday, and that is one of the reasons I endorsed his opponent. Those concerns remain. Other Democrats, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, praised Mamdani. The Congresswoman wrote on X, congratulations, Zohran Mamdani. Your dedication to an affordable, welcoming and safe New York City, where working families can have a shot, has inspired people across the city. Billionaires and lobbyists poured millions against you and our public finance system, and you won.
Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, won 43.5% of first-place votes in New York's ranked choice voting system. New York Times data shows middle and high-income candidates voted for Mamdani by 10 and 13 points respectively over his opponents. Cuomo beat his opponents with lower-income voters by 13 points.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries both congratulated Mamdani, but they did not endorse him.
Yeah, so you're now seeing a lot of commentary from people on the right, very harshly anti-Mamdani. I think there was maybe more holding of the fire when it was, it was him versus Cuomo because, as my commentary makes clear, no one really likes Cuomo. Look, I don't, in my criticisms of Mamdani, I do think, Mamdani, excuse me, he is a I find his views dangerous and disturbing, not his religious views. It's that he's a socialist. It's not that he's Islamic. He's not an Islamic extremist, as far as I know. Now, I know some people feel differently about his views vis-a-vis Israel and Palestine, that they are extreme and that they're against the Jewish people and not just Israel. That's not really where I am in thinking that, but I know that's what where that's coming from. But I do think his socialist policies would be very bad. So I would not focus on the I don't see what 9/11 has to do with it. I mean, you can criticize someone's religion just as people would criticize a very Christian nationalist type person taking over any state. I see that criticism from the left as well, but I would be focused on the socialism aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, I largely agree with that, except that I would put it in much stronger terms, because to me some of this commentary from the right, including from prominent figures, is just a straight up encouragement toward bigotry and xenophobia and anti-immigrant sentiment. I mean, you have Matt Walsh, for example, a very well-known figure on the right, saying that it is, quote, a tragedy and a disgrace, unquote, that 40% of New York's population is foreign-born. It's not a tragedy and disgrace at all. It's one of the things that has historically made New York one of the best cities, one of the greatest cities in the world.
Right, specifically, where I think I disagree with him, he specifically says in that tweet that it's a shame that now it's 40% foreign. Well, 100 years ago it was also 40% foreign. It's the stopping place for people coming to this country. And this is something I criticize with my friends on the right a great deal, because I do see things differently than them on this issue. The idea that it is foreign people coming in, voting for socialism, is just not true. And you can see the demographics in Mamdani's victory. Cuomo was more supported by low-income people. The racial groups mixed. Black people went solidly for Cuomo. Hispanic and Asian people, I think, more so for Mamdani, but it's a mixed picture. But affluent, white, liberal people who have been in this country for hundreds of years, they supported Mamdani. There is socialism already in this country. I'm very against socialism. I think it's bad. I don't want it to spread. It's grown on our university campuses. It's not some foreign disease that is entering the country because we bring too many people in from the third world. A lot of the people who enter our country, especially from South America, hate socialism. They've fled socialism. If we're talking about from Mexico and from South America, many of them are more socially conservative, more Christian, more Catholic specifically, than the native-born population of the U.S. So I think this is a misguided criticism from Matt Walsh type people. I've said it to him on social media many times. It's not because I disagree on the goal. I share the goal of thwarting socialism. I think they are misdiagnosing its roots as some foreign problem that if we shut our borders, we would have less of it. If we shut our borders and we had less people coming in, we would have more socialism because the people here who are affluent are the ones who profess it.
Yeah, look, any ideology can be advocated for or rebutted, opposed, whether it's socialism, conservatism, liberalism, anything else. If people want to make an argument that Zohran Mamdani is too far to the left, by all means have at it. That isn't the argument that is being made by a lot of these people. And it's not just Matt Walsh. Laura Ingram talked about the, quote, poisonous crop of immigration. Charlie Kirk, with that tweet that we read out, just a logically nonsensical tweet trying to somehow tie Mamdani to 9/11. Stephen Miller talking about New York City is a warning, the clearest warning yet of what happens to a society when it fails to control immigration. I mean, these are just outright bigoted positions, xenophobic nativist positions that would not have been expressed in mainstream American political debate even 10 years ago. And so I think it is one of the most worrying trends in American politics right now that you have well-known prominent figures acting as cheerleaders for nativism.
Well, I agree with you on the Charlie Kirk tweet. And I have criticized Stephen Miller a lot because I see policy very differently from him. I think if it was the case that we were bringing in tons of immigrants and that was causing, and they were all voting for policies that I thought were really bad, or like some expansion of the welfare state, or the most far-left policies of all, or overthrowing religion and free speech, I think I would not think it nativist to express opposition to that. I'm saying that is not the case. That's on the basis
of the policy, though. That's not on the basis of where Mamdani was born or where anyone else was born. You oppose the policy, which is fine.
Right, and I would be for less immigration if that was the case. What I'm saying is that is not the case, and people are misguided for focusing on that as the case. Immigrants are not a monolith anyway. There's a lot of assimilation in the second and third generations, and even in the first generation, there's a lot of contempt for these specific policies. You know, it shows up, again, time to time. Wokeness is the preference of liberal arts graduates, not of immigrants pouring over any of our borders. Yeah. And I think conservatives often need a reality check on that.
Yeah. I again, broadly agree. I just think you used the term misguided. I would put it in much more vehement terms than that, because I think they're engaging in rhetoric that is just, well, it is bigoted by its nature. It is assuming or suggesting that a Muslim shouldn't be mayor of New York City. If the people of New York City vote for anyone of any religion, we don't do religious bars in this country, thankfully. And the idea that we should, or that there should be wariness on the basis of someone's religion, I think is very antithetical.
Yeah, I mean, a religion is a belief set. You can. It is not a.
Yes.
Is not a racial. You can have an opposition. You can have an opposition to a Christian or a
Absolutely.
Buddhist or a Islamic person.
Yes.
For a variety. I would not have any of that basis unless for some reason their religion compels them to favor some policy that I disagree with. Then I might say I don't want. Again, it wouldn't be specifically Islamic. It could be Christian. It could be Buddhist. It could be...
Yes, but in that instance, you would be objecting to an individual within that religion, right? What is happening with this rhetoric is suggesting that a Muslim, axiomatically by being Muslim, shouldn't be mayor, and we shouldn't. We just shouldn't entertain that stuff. Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling is taking fire once again for her views on transgender issues. We'll talk about that next.